Welcome back, students, to our lesson, the third level in your Vistas book. A recap. We have seen earlier that Charlie gets lost in the Grand Central Station when he takes a passage to the subway and he enters into some other world, some other century, you can say, which he finds to be the 19th century, as he was confirmed with the style of dressing and through the newspaper, which was dated as June 11, 1894. Charlie had always wished to visit Galesburg, Illinois with his wife Louisa, as it was a very peaceful town, rich in natural beauty. He could get the ticket to Galesburg at the station in the third level, and so he decided to buy 2 tickets to Galesburg. Let's see further. The clerk figured the fare. He glanced at my fancy hatband, but he figured the fare, and I had enough for 2 coach tickets one way. The clerk calculated the fare, and in between he kept looking at Charlie's hatband, which looked a little peculiar to him. But again he calculated, and Charlie was assured that he had enough money to buy 2 tickets to go one way. But when I counted out the money and looked up, the clerk was staring at me. Why was the clerk staring at Charlie when he was counting the money? He nodded at the bills. Bills means the currency. "That ain't money, mister," he said. "And if you are trying to skin me, you won't get very far." And he glanced at the cash drawer beside him. The man looked a bit annoyed by looking at the currency, and he frowned at Charlie, sort of warned him not to try to cheat him with this fake currency, or else Charlie would be handed over to the police. Of course, the money was old-style bills, half again as big as the money we use nowadays and different looking. So the money which Charlie had was of the 20th century, and for the clerk it looked very different, as in those days the notes were bigger in size. I turned away and got out fast. There's nothing nice about jail even in 1894. So Charlie thought better to move out of that place. And that was that. I left the same way I came, I suppose. Next day, during lunch hour, I drew $300 out of the bank, nearly all we had, and bought old-style currency. That really worried my psychiatrist friend. So Charlie said that this was how the things had happened. He left the same way he came. He returned the same way, but he was not very sure because his mind might have been occupied with all those things that had happened. I drew $300 out of the bank, nearly all we had, and bought old-style currency. That really worried my psychiatrist friend. You can buy old money at almost any coin dealers, but you have to pay a premium. My $300 bought less than 200 to old-style bills, but I didn't care. Eggs were 13 cents a dozen in 1894. So Charlie took out $300 from his saving account to buy old-style currency. And Charlie's psychiatrist friend Sam, he looked a bit worried as Charlie would have to pay some amount as a premium to exchange. Out of the $300, Charlie received 200 old style currency. But Charlie didn't worry as things were cheaper in 1894, so he could have managed with the $200 that he had. But I have never again found the corridor that leads to the third level at Grand Central Station, although I have tried often enough. Charlie tried many a times to go back to the third level, but somewhere that level was not to be found. Louisa was pretty worried when I told her all this and didn't want me to look for the third level anymore, and after a while I stopped. I went back to my stamps. So, as a natural tendency, Louisa, his wife, looked very worried about knowing all this. She never wanted Charlie to search for the third level anymore, as it was all a puzzle which was hard to be solved. Charlie also put this idea off his mind. But now we are both looking every weekend, because now we have proof that the third level is still there. My friend Sam Weiner disappeared. Nobody knew where. But I sort of suspected because Sam's a city boy and I used to tell him about Galesburg. I went to school there and he always seemed to like the sound of the place. And that's where he is, right in 1894. Now, children, we see a twist in the story. Till now, we knew that it was Charlie who firmly believed that there was the existence of the third level. But now his wife Louisa also seemed to be agreeing to Charlie. Charlie went back to his stamp collection and Louisa used to accompany him now. The disappearance of his friend, their psychiatrist friend Sam, was missing, and this aroused a suspicion in their mind that the third level really did exist. Why this thought came into Charlie's mind? Sam was a city boy, and like Charlie, he also didn't enjoy the city life. He also liked the peaceful and the quiet atmosphere of this place, Galesburg, where Charlie had spent his childhood days. So when Charlie used to tell him about Galesburg, Sam used to express his desire to go there. And now Charlie thought that Sam would have gone to Galesburg.